Welcome to Access, thanks to Crypto.com. I'm Matthew Lloyd and Damian Barrett with you. We are down to 4, and Lordo, it's a 4 who are familiar with success.
And you could mount a case for every one of those in this game, these two prelims this weekend, Damo, so I cannot wait for it to start on Friday night.
And there's going to be a sad story out of one of the teams with the Hawthorn Footy Club with Luke Breust, Lordo. And this Bombers story, I still feel it's as big a story as any of the 4 preliminary finalists with Zach Merrett, and we've both got strong views on that. But some players were just born to play finals football, and I refer to John Newcombe, Lordo. He's played 4 now, the most recent one being the big win against Adelaide on the semi-final weekend. And his rankings out of those 4 are through the roof.
The best on ground in 4 finals in a row, and that's what you want to be known for. You want to be known for standing up in September, and that's what John Newcombe's done. He's already a best and fairest winner at the club, and it's already got me forward thinking about. He was so dominant, and they tried Sam Berry, and Sam Berry, within 15 minutes, that strategy was blown apart. Like he won the first 3 clearances of the game, and they kicked the first 3 goals. He was just too good, and they had to change that. So I'm talking Mullen, O'Sheen Mullen, that can he go to him? Like, he got a hold of him.
He's got the motor.
He's got
Has
the
he
motor.
got the physical size?
That's the question. But Mullen will just stick at it all night long. And even if he just limits the effect of his disposal, he's not going to stop him from getting 20 disposals, but he might stop the effect of those disposals.
They've got the double whammy. I mean, as we look at what Newcombe did against Adelaide, it's more important now for this conversation as to what happens next. And is O'Connor a backup if Mullen doesn't work early?
Yeah, he's a good backup because they can both go inside the centre square. But I think O'Connor's more suited to taking sort of the dangerous forward type, like he did with Cameron Rayner, where Mullen, I think, will get first crack.
So there's one Hawk player who's just in supreme form. I think Lloyd Meek may have played his best game of football as well, Lordo, in this same game. And as we look at what he did against Riley O'Brien and others at the Crows to set up this massive Hawks win, throw forward, can you? Because the Geelong Footy Club is going to be without Rhys Stanley again. Yeah,
when I was doing my votes, I gave Newcombe best on ground over the weekend. I gave Gunston second best, and I gave Lloyd Meek third best for the first use he gave to his midfielders, like that hit out to Watson, which was an amazing finish. But he's been a wonderful player this year, Lloyd Meek, and you think whether it's Blixarves or Rhys Stanley, he's going to get the physical size. They're going to have the mobility around him. He works pretty well around the ground, Meek, but I think that advantage Hawthorn get from him is huge.
Yep. Everything is settled with the Hawks at the moment. They're without Will Day, obviously, and that's a massive loss. But the recruitments, as we've discussed all year, of Barris and Battle down back to go and work and team up with James Sicily, it's been huge. But there's 3 others down there, Lordo. They're regulars. We just saw there Jarman Impey making a mark. We've got Carl Amon as part of that, and also I think everyone's favourite player is Blake Hardwick as well. Yeah,
and we could have thrown in Scrimshaw. So we just wanted we talk a lot about Barras and Battle and Sicily, but these blokes are unbelievable back there with what they do. So consistent, so reliable, have so much experience, they're cool heads. And they just do not get beaten, these guys. So they're sort of players that, they're the reason why Hawthorn have come from 8th to be now in the top 4 with what they've produced through this final series.
With a live chance.
Yeah.
You've celebrated regularly the work of Jack Gunston this year, Lordo. We're rewarded officially with All-Australian selection, but he just continues somehow to get better at this late stage of an already grand career. And the 5 goals that he kicked, 70 for the year, he is still finding a way to lead inside his own forward 50 that bamboozles opponents.
Yeah, he'll be a great coach, I think, Jack Gunston, of some sort when he retires, because I know Sam Mitchell was always such a smart player. Well, this is Gunston, so we just got the down-the-ground vision of him and the way he releases himself from... He just doesn't engage with his opponent, so I think I'd be getting touch on him this week, whoever picks him up from Geelong. But Mark Keane didn't play him smart.
Who is it, Lordo? Is it Henry? Does Stewart have to fill that hole that he's clearly got access to there?
Yeah, I think Henry would be a wonderful choice for him. Henry reads it just as well as Gunston, so Henry's underrated, he's super smart, but Keane just wasn't smart enough. Keane watches the ball too much, and Keane loses sight of Gunston right throughout the night. So I think, Henry will make a far better fist of it. But just the smarts, his timing, he doesn't have the speed anymore, but it doesn't matter. It's been the biggest surprise of the season, his form. I know you always knew he was good, but to kick 70 goals has been absolutely
and holding up. He's not tapering off.
And the worry is they're subbing out. Whenever Deere plays, he gets subbed out. Whenever Mitch Lewis, he gets subbed out. So this form is even more important for Hawthorn.
His own personal fairy tale is still alive in Jack Gunston, a multiple premiership player at the Hawks, but someone who has been ended, Lordo, on the back of a VFL incident on the weekend, the great Luke Breust, who went down in this moment. It was ugly, and Josh Gablich there confirming that it was the worst case scenario, both ACL and MCL being torn there. And The fairy tale that was at the possibilities of this year. 550 plus goals, 300 plus matches of footy. He played well as the sub in the latter home and away season matches, Lloydo. He was there if they needed him. He may not have been needed, but his dream's been ended.
Yeah, it's the hardest role in football, being a small forward, and as you 550 goals, just a huge effort by him. Three-time premiership player, been an absolute star for that club, and we'll just celebrate hopefully over the next month what a career he had.
Yep. A lot of fallout for the Crows, Lloydo, out in straight sets and demoralisingly slow. They didn't fire a shot. They didn't even win a quarter. They had question marks going into the game, according to Matty Nix, the coach, about their forward line. And then the CEO, you spoke to him, Tim Silvers, on 3AW pre-match, and there's an unknown around the future of Tex Walker.
I think there is some doubt. He's like Benjamin Button. He just keeps getting better, and we talk about that finals experience. But, in my years with Tex, it feels like it's a bit of a game by about mid-season buy, and we talk about, is he going on, is he not, am I going to give him a contract? It's been something we genuinely have not spoken about.
Had me finish that interview, Damo, thinking that Tex is unlikely to go on with just the way Tim Silvers spoke, and the way, unfortunately, Tex played in that final. It makes me more and more think that it's probably unlikely that Tex goes on. He was wonderful this year. He was even the best forward the week before. Yep. But the doubt that Matthew Nix had after the game about those three forwards and whether it works or not, I just think Tex, they may make a hard call on him. That's
one part of problem areas for the Crows on the back of this straight sets exit, Lloydo. The midfield, ultimately, when it's all said and done, did not get the job done. And that's inclusive. And it's hard to say this about a guy who was really good this year in Jordan Dawson, but he didn't fire at all in the two finals he played. And when you look at those six on paper now, it does lack, doesn't it, to the teams that are still standing in the 2025 season.
And that's where there might be another sit-down with Isaac Rankin and say, understand how much you hurt us, understand the pre-season you need to have, because without you, we look pedestrian. And unfortunately, Saligo and Berry had poor final series. Peatling, he's more an outside player, half-forward type, and Laird, the game has gone past him as a midfielder. So that's how short they became and how they were exposed through the final series.
It's going to be a long 6 months, wasn't it? You don't finish top of ladder by a game being clear and then to lose the way they did, Lloydo. The preparation and the mindset, I think, is all part of this review.
Yeah, an audit on everyone. The coaching staff, the system, the game plan, how you can stand up in home and away footy but get exposed in the final series.
So you contrast where they are with what the Brisbane Lions were able to do. Regularly on the run this year, responding to adversity, the sort of adversity the Crows weren't able to. And I refer to Chris Fagan, Lloydo. He is our subject of Coach Speak today on Access for Crypto.com. And the modern game requires so many different things, Lloydo, but sometimes it's just the old-fashioned win the ball that is the most important part to a finals win.
Yeah, our games, generally speaking, whoever wins the contested ball and stoppage goes a long way towards who wins, and the last time they gave us the thorough thrashing.
And they were also taught a lesson by Geelong the week before, where Geelong beat them up at the contest and they also beat them up for pressure. So they learn a good lesson from Geelong, and they also got a lesson for the last time they played the Gold Coast Suns. They got flogged in every department of contest, pressure, clearance, and they've reversed the tables. Dunkley laid one of the best tackles early, set the scene, despite Gold Coast kicking the first couple of goals. They mauled them. Gold Coast are most dangerous when they run, carry, overlap. Brisbane didn't give them that.
We can see the depth here. Look, there's celebrated midfielders. Lockie Neal's not part of it, Lloydo. That's another story. He's still trying to be ready for a grand final, unlikely to be so. But Sam Marshall was on the end of some of these plays here, just in a little way where he's always in the right spots for such a young player. Jasper Fletcher, and then that man there, Will Ashcroft, played the game of his life, and that takes some saying, given he's already got a Norm Smith medal in his CV.
Yeah, I don't know who loves Dunkley more, me or you.
I've got him. I went before you did, Lloydo, and you know I did. I'm convinced you to embrace him as well. But he just performs. He just performs. He's been there for 3 years, Lloydo, and look at the transformation in this football club. It's the 3 years, well, 2 years of grand finals and another preliminary final under his watch. And look, just looking at that, that's not a stat you throw up lightly. Jimmy Bartell, the great Jimmy Bartell. Look at those other players, iconic figures at their football clubs in finals, and this man has got his own worthy spot on that list with the most number of tackles in a final now.
There's no ego with him, because there's a lot of players that go, no, I'm a two-time premiership player, like I can win 30 possessions myself, but he'd never do that. Josh Dunkley, knowing him really well, that he's the ultimate team player, and for him to take out Rowell and still get the 18 tackles and win the ball himself. You know, he's as good a player as there is in the competition for two-way play.
I love the response of Cam Rayner, Lloydo. The narrative out of the first week of finals for him with the staging issue that he has and was subjected to rightly for the Geelong moments, he just wasn't going to be allowed to be tackled in this particular game. He was a brute, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, so we'll start with some of the panic that set in and we'll work into what you're speaking about with Cameron Rayner. But this Ainsworth, that was a panic tackle straight to Rayner, who's in defence there. And then it was a run and it was the overlap. It's Ashcroft involved again. McInerney, he was confident too, playing as a forward, and he got it out to Lohman. It's the best game I've seen Lohman play too for a while. I think he's had a disappointing year, but he impacted well. But this is where Mac Andrew needs a big summer to get stronger and bigger to go, okay, I couldn't lay a glove on Cameron Rayner. He was too powerful. He was too explosive. Twice he couldn't stick his tackle. So that's where Damien Hardwick could go away and say, we were bullied, we were monstered by them, but Cameron Rayner, he's like a bit of Dusty. No, I can't say Dusty because Dusty's won 3 Norm Smiths, but it was that type of game from him on the weekend. We
saw the Crows not able to respond to what John Newcombe was doing within the game, but the Lions did, Lloydo, with what Ben King was doing early for the Suns. And they moved Darcy Gardner off him. Harris Andrews, again, not surprisingly, given his already well-proven track record of 3 times All-Australian. But the moment this move was made, they were back, the Lions.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Damo. So King looked like Carey early on in the game, what he was doing to Gardner. He was just too big, too strong, and he took King's spirit away in this game with how well he... I remember Brian Lake I used to struggle with a bit because not only did Lake sometimes spoil, but he'd take marks like this and he demoralises you because of his aerial ability. And Harris Andrews, I thought he was massive against Geelong against Shannon Neale when no one else was standing up and Leicester was getting beaten and that. So he's had a great final series.
He had a great home and away season too, a 3rd time All-Australian. Now, Lloydo, the narrative at Collingwood, the team awaiting Brisbane Lions in the preliminary final, it's changed when it comes to Bobby Hill. We saw Braden Maynard, we saw Darcy Moore, we saw even Craig McRae just tempering expectations around his availability. Nick Dacos yesterday on the Sunday Footy Show, just have a listen to the hint in his voice that he's going to be available.
The calibre of player that Bobby is, you'd be wanting to bring him in at any chance. I guess it would be the strength and conditioning staff when they think he's done enough training and a big block of work, he'll be ready to go. So it'll be super exciting. I know as a midfielder looking up and seeing him in the forward line, you always just feel confident kicking it anywhere near him and he'll get it done. So hopefully he's there on Saturday.
OK, we're talking really early Monday morning, Lloydo. There's a lot to play out here. He's got to get through some training sessions. He's had a lot of issues in that space this year. But the last time he played a final was against Brisbane when he won a Norm Smith medal himself in 2023.
Yeah, this is the first time I think he'll play too. I'm big on the trust factor, and I could sense that they were disappointed in Bobby Hill and how he'd been going and missing the odd training session here or there. But the talent that he's got and putting a body of work together over the last couple of weeks, I think you can't not pick him if he's done that over the last couple of weeks, and I think they see that as well. Yeah,
it's just changed this whole feeling around this. He's got to get through the training this week, and we'll see how that unfolds. You mentioned the word trust, and that has been eroded at Essendon when it comes to their captain, Zach Merrett, Lloydo. There's now been 3 players, Mason Redman with Cal Toomey on AFL.com.au, Nick Martin in The Age, and also Andrew McGrath yesterday on Channel 7, speaking quite angrily about the decision that he, Merrett, took to meet with Sam Mitchell at Hawthorn. This is a club-led strategy now against Merrett, and I don't have an issue with that because Merrett has chosen to do in contract what he's done, but we don't really see this happen the way this is unfolding now.
So can I ask you then if you feel it's been a club decision to have players come out? Because most players say, no, I'm not going to comment on that.
They do say that.
They would say that, but they've decided not to, that they are going to let Merrett go at the end of this now, using this strategy.
And we're going to make this the Crypto.com bold call of the preliminary final week of programming. The Bombers do need to embrace a Merrett exit. I feel they have now. I think there's a conditioning now with those 3 players speaking so strongly publicly. And I'd be even stronger again. I'd get David Barham, although he doesn't like making any public commentary. I'd get Brad Scott and just say, OK, we will trade you provided we get the right deal. Rather than this, he's contracted, we're going to keep him. I think you change that narrative into that zone and then it's absolutely 100% on their terms from here on in, whether he stays or goes.
You don't think they lose their bargaining power if they do that?
No, I don't. I think they need a reset without him. And I think they can have a very positive reset without him. Clearly, there's a galvanising component to those 3 players, those 3 senior leaders beneath Merrett in the structure of that hierarchy, speaking the way they have in the past 48, 72 hours. And yeah, you may not get exactly what he's worth, but you'll get a fresh mindset and a fresh start, which they desperately need, because he's moping around now for a couple of years.
Yeah, my belief is they've lost trust in each other now, and I also agree that it wouldn't be best for Essendon or Zach Merrett to have to go back there, and a clean start would be good for both.
I'll allow you the right to change your mind, Lloydo, but Geelong Hawthorn?
I'm going Geelong.
So am I. Collingwood Brisbane Lions.
This is the one I was tempted to select Brisbane, but I'm going to go with Collingwood to shut down Brisbane's ball movement and win that one.
If Bobby Hill's in, I'm going Collingwood as well, but I might change my mind. But we'll be back next week to wrap it all up after the prelim finals on Access.